What is up, everybody? I'm George Mossey. This is the Family Chantel Season 4, Episode 6 podcast recap. Grab something to drink, grab a snack, and let's dissect the episode and see if there's something that you might have missed on this episode of the Family Chantel. So River and Miss Kieran drop in on Pedro unannounced in search of answers as to why Chantel ended up sleeping on River's couch. And Chantel has not been very forthcoming on what is actually going on. Although Pedro does give a small explanation regarding cleaning, dishes, and laundry, River actually feels that there would be more information given to him if his mom, Miss Kieran, was not present. If it was a guy-to-guy conversation, River feels that Pedro would have been more forthcoming with the information as of what's really going on in their relationship. Commenting on the actual explanation, Miss Kieran seems to think the house looks clean and fine, and she can't really imagine what the issue could really be if cleaning the house is really that big of a deal. She even offers up the suggestion of hiring a maid or a cleaning service to come in and keep the house clean, do the laundry, do the dishes, and unload the dishwasher. Pedro doesn't really seem open to the idea of hiring a maid or a maid service, and Miss Kieran feels that Pedro needs to be a little more grateful of the great, big, beautiful house that Chantel got for him. Which actually irritates Pedro because they got the house together, and Pedro feels that these are the type of comments and the way things are going in their relationship that are making him feel like he isn't equal. Let's head over to the Dominican Republic. As you know, Alejandro has made an unannounced visit to the Dominican Republic, unbeknownst to Nicole or her mom Lydia, but Nicole knows now after he's shown up to her job for literally a second time, unannounced, uninvited, and demanding a conversation. I don't know if at this point we can go ahead and consider this stalking, but Nicole has made it very clear that she's not really interested in having a conversation or even the idea of reopening a relationship with Alejandro. But unfortunately, Alejandro doesn't feel that no is a definite answer. He has begun wearing Nicole down and actually ended up in the backseat of her car. Even though Nicole offered up the trunk, he did end up in the backseat of her car at a restaurant where they were able to talk about his feelings, and he was actually able to apologize to Nicole for his part in the demise of their relationship. Although Nicole knows it's important for her to have a clear head and make good decisions, she knows that considering getting back with Alejandro would also be considering losing her relationship with her family, especially her mother. None of them approve of Alejandro or feel that he's actually worth the hassle of being in a relationship with. As you know, we found out last season that he was still married when he was telling Nicole that he was divorced. The paperwork was not finalized yet. Alejandro even says that he is willing to bring the divorce papers to their next meeting if there is a next meeting. Nicole said that she will consider the information that they discussed at the dinner and whether or not she feels anything will ever come about that relationship ever again, she will reach out to him. But I have a feeling that Alejandro will not take no for an answer, and he will find her or her friends and be waiting for her outside if she doesn't give him the timely answer that he's looking for. Now, watching this situation unfold, it makes me really question whether or not it's okay to pursue someone and follow someone and show up places when they've actually asked you not to be there and asked you to leave. We have to make sure that women feel safe, secure, and comfortable anywhere. And if a woman asks you to leave, that is exactly what she means. Do not stay. Do not insist on speaking to her if she says no. We have to remember, guys, no one has the right to force someone to listen to your side of any story or situation. It is literally a privilege to have the use of someone's ear. After staying the night at River's house, Chantel actually had to work a 12-hour shift at the hospital. After that 12-hour shift, Chantel decides to run back home. She decides to make him pizza. And unfortunately, that conversation also turns into a fight when Pedro brings up that River and Miss Kieran did show up and ask for information regarding their relationship status and how things were going. The fight that ensued got pretty intense where Chantel actually accuses Pedro of using, and now that he has gotten everything that he could possibly want from her, he is now kicking her to the curb and ready to move on to someone new. During this fight, we actually learned that Pedro has been going to the mall and other non-drink or restaurant events with Antonella. And Antonella's name has been coming up quite a bit this season, and we're 6 episodes in, and everyone has the thought in the back of their mind, is there seriously something going on between Pedro and Antonella? We keep hearing her name. It's a recurring name this season, and usually when something continuously comes up, there's more to it. On a lighter note, we check in with Winter, who is actually no longer interested in Mossey. Mossey was not the right guy for her, and Winter has extremely good self-worth and self-esteem and decided that asking her to buy a new cell phone was unacceptable and not the type of relationship that she wanted to be in. But we did find out that Winter is a part of a special group of women who live here in the United States who only date Nigerian men. Now, I was unaware that this group even existed in this country, and Winter is a member. And Chris, who is Winter's new subject of interest, happens to also be Nigerian. And Chantel feels it's because Winter likes the chocolate. She feels like it's the skin tone, the complexion. Some people might say it might be the accent. We don't know exactly what it is that is drawing Winter to Nigerian men, but as we watch her on this rock climbing date with Chris, we can definitely see that there's an attraction, and we can definitely see that Winter is nervous as she's been in a relationship for 7 years, and the last time she was single was when she was 19 years old. So in order for her to get back into this dating scene, there's a lot to do and learn and get used to. Also, Winter killed it at rock climbing because I can't climb rocks on the ground. So climbing rocks on a wall is literally insanely impossible for me. So good job, Winter. I was very impressed with your mobility on climbing rocks. While getting ready to show a house, Pedro decides that it's time to bring his mother Lydia up to speed on what's going on with him in his life and career and relationship, as in his marriage. Lydia has never approved of the idea of Pedro being with Chantel, marrying Chantel, or even Pedro leaving the country to live with Chantel. So the idea that Chantel might be a thing of the past has really gotten Lydia happy and excited for the future. Lydia is even dreaming of coming to America and Pedro buying her own house. Lydia feels that Chantel is holding Pedro back from moving forward. She feels that Chantel doesn't want Pedro to do the successful things that he's doing, and she wants him to remain in the same place and holding him back from moving forward in his life and career. During this episode, Miss Karen decides to make one more house call back to Pedro and Chantel's house. This time, Chantel is home and Pedro is at work, and that's exactly how she wants it to be. Miss Karen decides that she wants to know what exactly is going on between Pedro and Chantel. And once again, Chantel shuts down all outside influence and says that this is something that she really wants to figure out on her own without any help. And unfortunately, that's very difficult because Miss Karen doesn't feel that holding boundaries and staying out of it is going to be a successful way to make sure that this goes well. In fact, Chantel has asked Miss Karen to stop showing up at her house unannounced and to make a call or a text message first to see if it's okay. Now, one thing I know about mothers, they show up when they want to show up. My mom will show up at any given time, and I don't think that Miss Karen is going to take advice from anyone about when she can come over and see one of her cubs. I think it would be a really difficult task to watch Chantel teach boundaries to Miss Karen. Miss Karen has willingly said about herself that she doesn't know boundaries and she has no interest in learning boundaries because when it comes to her cubs, she needs to be involved and make sure that they are making good decisions, and she is doing everything in her power to protect them. Alright guys, that's what happened on this episode of The Family Chantel, Season 4, Episode 6. This has been the podcast recap. I'm your host, George Mossey. Make sure you're live tweeting with me every Monday night for The Family Chantel on TLC so we can react live to the show together. Make sure you're following everyone from The Family Chantel show's cast, and make sure you're following me as well. Thanks for joining us, and I'll talk to you all really soon.